Wayne Rooney scores a wonder goal. A new shift in format for the Voyageurs Cup competition coming up. And the Vancouver Whitecaps played in New England today to face some former teammates that are now with the Revolution. David Ousted standing on his head early. The offense for Vancouver sputtered a little bit, and well, the match ended 0-0. One player that was absent from that game was Captain Jay DeMerit, who was rested, saying on Twitter he was being left behind and that he wasn't going to be playing in all the matches this year. And it made me think. Good evening and welcome. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk right here on AM 650 Radio. My name's Tyler Green. You can follow me on Twitter, Tyler Green FC. Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk is also available via a webcast and live streaming at www.am650radio.com. Thank you for listening or for watching us live for that matter. Or if you've downloaded the podcast, thank you very much. Now, before we get too far into the show, I want to welcome Kia Vancouver to the program as our official title partner online, KiaVancouver.com. Purchase any in-stock new Kia now until March 28th. And here's where the soccer angle fits in. Get 4 Whitecaps tickets and a $100 gift card to Moxie's. You'll also be entered to win a pair of season tickets. The draw date for that is April 2nd. Details in store at Kia Vancouver, 396 Southwest Marine Drive, or online at KiaVancouver.com. So this DeMerit talk has got me thinking just a little bit, because we gave the New York Red Bulls a lot of shtick about not playing their best players. Thierry Henry up front, Jamison Olave on defense, and, well, the Whitecaps picked up a victory, a 4-1 victory. But instead they, well, what New York did was, quote, rested them back in New York. So should the Whitecaps be similarly ripped for not playing their best players in matches? Yes, Thierry Henry and Jay DeMerit, they're not really the same caliber whatsoever, but you are still trying to win games. And then I thought, well, maybe this should be the barber pole question tonight. But I soon realized many of my followers on Twitter at Tyler Green FC were very much happier that Jay DeMerit was actually out of the lineup than when he is actually in the lineup. So, having said that, I thought of a new barber pole question brought to you by anotherfinecut.com. And that poll question is, because it relates to Captain Jay DeMerit, should the Vancouver Whitecaps have re-signed Captain Jay DeMerit? Judging from some of my Twitter questions the other day, people are saying no. They'd rather him not be in the lineup. So we've given you a couple of options, or you could come up with your own. But should the Whitecaps have re-signed Captain Jay DeMerit? There's yes, he's a starter and a leader. Yes, but only if he's on a very low salary. C, he's a sub at best. Or D, no, not worth it. Money better spent elsewhere. Tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag BarberPoll on Twitter at SoccerTalk650 or at TylerGreenFC. You can also email us here on the show, SoccerTalk650@gmail.com, or you can call us and weigh in at 604-280-0650. That is the way to get a hold of us. The Barber Poll is brought to you by anotherfinecut.com. Get the authentic straight razor experience that reminds you you're alive. 3 locations, Gastown, Yaletown, and the Financial District, online at anotherfinecut.com. The boys at Another Fine Cut, also the ones who trimmed up Russell Berrisford for his match today in New England. So those are the ways to connect with the show, as mentioned. Twitter, SoccerTalk650. You can also check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan. We have a few announcements coming. We just made one with the big partnership with Kia Vancouver. And of course, earlier in the week, we really did meet the Soccer Talk crew here. And the first one was Simon Fudge, and it actually almost broke our Facebook account because it was one of the most popular posts that we have ever made. So you can check that out. Find out a little bit more about Simon. Facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan. Like I said, it almost broke our Facebook page. Christina Dyke, our executive producer, she's the next one to be unveiled on the Facebook page. She's got big shoes to fill if she wants to surpass Simon for most likes and views of that page. So she better come up with something very original. We'll see what she has to come up with. The show is very filled up today, much like the crew here at Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. We enjoyed delicious Dusso's fresh pasta dinner earlier tonight, available at your local grocer. Very tasty. But the show, like I said, very filled up because in the first half of the program, Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk contributor Simon Fudge and I going head-to-head on the starting 11 this week. Some issues up for debate include today's poll question, which we talked about. Also, the best matchup in the UEFA Champions League. And we'll also play a little game called Am I Right or Am I Right? And I'll tell you right now, I was right. The first half is brought to you by BC Soccer, online at bcsoccer.net. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram at 1BCSoccer and participate in their weekly contests and learn more about what's happening in soccer across the province. Also coming up in the first half of the show, Vancouver Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi. You can get your questions into Bob by tweeting us at SoccerTalk650, hashtag AskBob. Numerous questions already to talk about with Bob Lenarduzzi, and we'll also ask him about the Voyageurs Cup with the new format that the CSA has put forth and the potential inclusion of some of those smaller clubs like the Victoria Highlanders and their PDL side. How will that affect the competition? Also very excited to have former Vancouver Whitecaps forward, icon, their first ever designated player Eric Hassli. He's going to talk about his move to the San Antonio Scorpions of the NASL, as well his greatest memory of playing here in Vancouver. Have to think that one of those two gorgeous goals that he scored have to be the top of the list there, but who knows? We'll see what Eric Hassli has to say. In the second half of the program, we'll check in with the injury report and David Sandals from Expert Physio. Expertphysio.ca is the website. Russell Berrisford recovered very well from that hamstring injury from earlier in the week. So we'll talk to David about what exactly is causing these hamstring injuries. That's going to happen just after 11 o'clock. Also with David, the Whitecaps rested a few players, and this is a topic that we're going to get to throughout the show, but should elite athletes need to be rested just 3 matches into the season? Another topic that we'll cover with David Sandals from Expert Physio. Joining us on the Soccer Talk Roundtable tonight is Vancouver Sun columnist and blogger Russell Berrisford. Russell always has an opinion or two on all things Whitecaps and the squad. And we'll chat with him about Carl Robinson's job performance 3 matches in, and more about the match from earlier today and some of the performances from the players in the 0-0 draw with New England plus Victoria Highlanders. We're going to talk to Bob Lenarduzzi about it, but we're going to talk with Vancouver Highlanders GM Mark DeFries. He's going to stop by, and we're going to discuss the latest news from the Amway Canadian Championships and the new format that happens starting in 2015. The Highlanders are very interested in competing in that competition, but what are the benefits and what are the negatives for clubs, especially small ones like Victoria? Is this a team that is looking to step their game up as well and potentially move to a USL Pro or an NASL side? So we'll ask them what exactly this club, the Victoria Highlanders, what their aspirations are in the soccer game. And as always, we're going to close up the program with the manager's rant and finish up with the final cut, which is brought to you by anotherfinecut.com. Once again, you're listening to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650 Radio in Vancouver. Online, am650radio.com. My name's Tyler Green. Joining me after the break, Simon Fudge. Champions League. From Europe to CONCACAF, the New York City FC, they unveiled their new logo. And who has the best and worst logos in Major League Soccer? Plus, am I right or am I right? Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk Contributor Simon Fudge and I debate those issues and more. It's the Starting 11, and it's coming up next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
When you're making travel arrangements for major sports teams, you've got to get it right every time. Uniglobe One Travel is travel partners with the BC Lions, Vancouver Stealth, and Vancouver Whitecaps FC. So you know they've got it together for travel savings, service, and technology. Get the Uniglobe One Travel team working for you. Contact Neil Chark, Senior Agent Group Specialist, directly at 604-677-1495. And stay tuned for news on upcoming trips to see your favorite soccer teams play around the globe.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Centuries old, steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at anotherfinecut.com. Hot towels, straight edge blade into your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive, you're a man, in the company of history's finest men. Start at anotherfinecut.com. Pick your barbershop in Yaletown, Gastown, or the Financial District, and relax into the big red leather chair for the shave of your life.
Vancouver Street Soccer League is the beautiful game at its finest. Teams of men and women who are homeless, have recently been homeless, or are at risk for homelessness get together to train and play matches. It's great fun that builds skill and confidence, and the league sent players to 4 consecutive Homeless World Cups in Milan, Rio de Janeiro, Paris, Mexico City, and Poland. Find out more at VancouverStreetSoccer.com.
This message fueled by Duso's Fresh Pasta and Sauce, proud to support community on and off the pitch.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650 Radio in Vancouver. My name's Tyler Green. Follow the show on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 or myself, Tyler Green FC. Still to come in the first half of Soccer Talk, brought to you by bcsoccer.net. We'll hear from Whitecaps head coach, Whitecaps president, Bob Lenarduzzi, review the Caps versus New England match earlier today. And also former Whitecaps designated player Eric Hassli. He's going to join us at 10:45 this evening. He's now with the San Antonio Scorpions of the NASL, and Russell Berrisford from the Vancouver Sun, who's going to join us on the roundtable. But it's time now for the Starting 11 with myself and contributor Simon Fudge, Simon Fudge 74 on Twitter. And number 1 in the Starting 11, does Paulo Machado of Olympiacos have the best mustache in the game right now, or should he visit our friends at anotherfinecut.com and get that sucker hot shaved off?
He needs to make a visit to anotherfinecut.com and get a hot shave. I mean, having taken not much of a look at it, it looked like a period piece on his face. I mean, all I'm going to say is we're not in the 19th century anymore, Tyler, and he needs to go get this thing taken off. That's all I have to say.
No, love that thing, man. No need to shave that bad boy off. The classic stash in the vein of a Tom Selleck, John Oates, Burt Reynolds. No, he should keep that thing. He should wear it proudly.
Number 2, great fight for Manchester United to come back from 2 goals down on aggregate and beat Olympiacos to advance in the UEFA Champions League. Can United actually win it?
Well, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. But I think, you know what? I think they might be able to do it. I think they have the belief that they can do it. Just all of a sudden with this team, and it really, for me, it started with that game. They won, had a great game earlier today as well. I think that they have now just that sudden impact of putting all things together, and I could see them just out of the blue winning and keep winning, all of that sort of stuff. And I can see them pulling some sort of upset against Bayern Munich.
No chance for me. Holders Bayern Munich will just be too strong for United over both legs, I think, and advance to the semis. The big blow that they've got to deal with, United, is the fact they won't have Van Persie now for 4 to 6 weeks. He reported having an injury the day after that game, and that's a big blow for them because he is pretty much their main catalyst. But too much class in that Bayern Munich side, who we've talked about before, may not necessarily win the Champions League again this year, but they will win this tie.
Well, it leads us to our next question, number 3 on the starting 11. What matchup are you most looking forward to in the UEFA Champions League with the draw just announced?
Well, it has to be the all-Spanish tie between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. This was one that Barca didn't want to get. They didn't want to face these guys who they're also competing with in the La Liga, and the fact that they haven't been able to beat them this season, and that the second leg is at the Vicente Calderón in Madrid, could very well be a very difficult 2 legs for Barcelona. I think for the likes of us, it's going to be awesome because it could actually be, for me, the highlight of the whole Champions League season, this 2 legs against these 2 clubs.
For me, I still like that Bayern Munich Manchester United clash. They're kind of classic rivals. They've kind of gone up against one another at various times in Champions League to some great affairs. Bayern likely going to win this one, but like I just said, there's just something about Manchester United right now that I think they can put things together, get that confidence, get them fired up, and maybe, just maybe, pull that upset against Bayern. I think that's the one to watch.
Toluca boss Jose Cardoso was critical of the San Jose Earthquakes, saying, quote, they say here in Mexico that football in the U.S. has grown a lot. I honestly don't know in what way, unquote. Harsh words or correct?
I think they're pretty correct. Major League Soccer teams have come close, but they've just haven't been able to get over that hump in CONCACAF. So where has it grown? Yeah, it's grown in terms of players and some of the players getting looks overseas and maybe making a little bit of a stronger national side, but they still can't take it to that next level in CONCACAF club football. And for me, I think he's right.
I think they're harsh words from the former Paraguay international striker. The thing is, for me, that over 2 legs, they obviously have played a team in San Jose that they've not been used to the physical style that the Earthquakes like to impose on teams, and I think that probably threw them off. And I also find the comments to be quite disparaging from him, considering that this team of his, Toluca, nearly got knocked out by San Jose in their own backyard this week. I mean, they had to go all the way to sudden death penalties just to knock them off.
Number 5 in the starting 11, Brendan Rodgers' contract ends at the end of next season at Liverpool. Should John Henry and the rest of the ownership group sign him sooner or later?
If I was Liverpool, I would have started the process of new contract talks with Brendan Rodgers already, with an idea of getting some ideas on the table and then accelerating this process once the season ends, with an idea that of a target of getting him signed to a new deal in the summer. Obviously, there's still another season to go on the current deal, but if I was the Reds, I would look to try and aim towards that. I mean, he is building a real contender here for the EPL title, and I think Red supporters know that full well.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. It's got to be sooner. You don't want to just leave that up to potentially of another team coming in and scooping him up. You've got to keep those assets. Try to do that with players. And you have to do that with a coach when it finally sort of clicks together. And I think that people have bought in at Liverpool, and the players have bought in at Liverpool, and things are going. And he's the type of guy that I think could carry Liverpool to that next level, and you've got to sign him up sooner rather than later.
Number 6, and this is one I do with great regret, was Tyler Green, the host of Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk, right when it came to the Major League Soccer clubs crashing out of the CONCACAF Champions League against Mexican opposition.
Well, the answer to this one is simple. All right. And let's just take a listen back to last week to try to let us kind of clarify what exactly took place last week. No, it's not going to happen. Last week you said you thought that there was a good chance, and I said, I don't think so, and I still don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, they have leads going in, but I think those Mexican sides are just going to be too tough for the MLS sides to really overcome and defend those leads. So for me, not going to happen. The Mexican sides are going to go through. There we have it. That was all right. And I like how I'm the host of the show, so if you're right, we're never going to play that audio.
Well, as good as I am to say this, you were right. I mean, having very much watched all three of the games and both legs of all three ties, Tijuana, Toluca, and Cruz Azul were just too strong for those Mexican clubs. LA, for me, were particularly disappointing on Tuesday. A brave but unlucky performance from San Jose. And for Kansas City, the Mexico City altitude when they played Cruz Azul just saw them wilt in the second half.
Number 7, New York City FC, unveiling their new crest earlier this week. Simon, do you like it?
I do like it. It very quickly saw me see that there were the influences of the New York Yankees and Manchester City that are obviously partnered to bring this team together in the logo. But it was interesting that a number of other sort of quote unquote New York influences were incorporated into the quest. The token thing from the 50s and some of the writing and even the colors of the city flag have been incorporated in it. So I very much like it, and I'm very impressed as well that they took a lot of fan engagement in this process.
Yeah, definitely did, but unfortunately I'm not too big of a fan. For me, it really kind of has that baseball look to it, and I know that they're owned partially by Manchester City, partially by the Yankees. And then they go with New York Mets colors, and I know that it's part of the New York City colors, etc., but I'm just not a big fan. It's not the worst. It's definitely not the best. It's okay, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But speaking of the different crests in Major League Soccer, who do you think is the best one out there right now?
Well, for fear of being considered extremely biased, I think the Whitecaps logo is a great one. It certainly when it was put together, the whole concept of the three peaks of the North Shore and that cascading onto the water, the whole concept of it I thought was very unique, and also the fact that there was a real effort to depart from not having a soccer ball incorporated in the logo, which so many of the MLS logos have, was probably the thing that makes me say that's the best one.
I looked at all the logos, and I did so for a few days here, really 3 or 4 days since the New York one got unveiled, and I really had some trouble kind of figuring out which logo was the best and which one I really liked, and none of them really jump out at me. For me, there's nothing great, but there are some good ones, and if I had to pick the best out of the good ones, I really like Sporting KC's logo. I like the uniforms. I like just everything about the color scheme, etc. So I'm going to say with Sporting KC, but what about your worst? Who do you think has the worst MLS logo?
It has to be the Columbus Crew. The fact that they're still working on the one that they've used since they came into the league, when the league came into being in 1996, with the three guys and whatnot. It just doesn't look very good to me. I think there needs to be some kind of upgrade there.
I don't, at the same time, I don't mind that they've gone with the same logo. It shows that they're going with the history, and a lot of teams stay and stick with the same logo that they've had for years. For me, the worst one is definitely the FC Dallas crest. It's just really just a crest outline and then clip art of a bull. So for me, it's pretty weak and probably the worst one out of the bunch.
Number 8, the referees union known as the Professional Soccer Referees Association and MLS reached a new collective bargaining agreement to end a short-lived lockout this week. Did you actually notice a difference with replacement referees?
No. I think that's the simple question. I didn't really notice a huge difference. One thing I didn't see was I didn't see a replacement Major League Soccer referee get in the way of Michael Bradley in a game. So I didn't really notice a difference.
No, I didn't notice it either. And in some ways, some of the replacement officials, especially for the 2 Whitecaps games that were affected by that, were basically referees that had been MLS referees only a couple of years ago. So the lockout really had no impact whatsoever on it, and I thought it was very minimal.
Jay DeMerit reported on Twitter on Thursday that he would not play because against the New England Revolution, and that he was being, quote, rested. We ripped the New York Red Bulls for resting their best 11, which included Thierry Henry and Jamison Olave. Should we now do the same to the Caps for not putting out their best 11?
My philosophy is you play your best 11. I mean, it may not be the most glamorous game today that they played in New England, but it was meaningful. And this is a team like any other team at any level. You're trying to get results and you're trying to achieve things. And that requires that you play your best players. When you make the decision to rest players, in a lot of ways, supporters and media and all alike should really frown upon that, because the business that clubs like the Whitecaps are in is to get results, and so therefore they should be playing their best players and playing their best 11.
I'm in complete agreement with you. You could argue that he hasn't been their best, but that's besides the point. It is said that he was rested not because he was weaker. You should go out and try to win every game, and you need to put out your best 11. And to rest an elite athlete in the third week of the season makes me think, is he really an elite athlete? No, he should have played if he is a part of that best 11.
Number 10, Bayern Munich are inching ever closer to another Bundesliga title on Saturday with another victory. Despite a great team like Bayern, does that make the Bundesliga dull?
I think it has a little bit. Bayern's obviously ran away with it, but looking from the top to bottom, the title race is over. Second and third place are almost solidified. There are 5 teams playing for 3 spots in Europa League. For me, it's lacking some of that luster. It's lost a little bit, especially this year. So I'm losing a bit interest here down the stretch in Germany. I'm looking at some of the other leagues as a little bit more interesting for me this time of the year.
And that might be fair enough for this season, but I disagree. I absolutely not. I think this is a very good, very well run. There's some very good, very well run clubs in the Bundesliga, and this is one of the best globally marketed domestic leagues in the world. It has been very competitive, and actually, an interesting stat that I found today, that before this season, Bayern Munich had only won 3 of the last 7 Bundesliga titles. You'd had the likes of Stuttgart and Dortmund in there that have won titles at their expense. I think even possibly Hamburg as well. I could be wrong, but Dortmund won their last title with they won 2 years in the trot, only 2 years ago. So I don't see how a league that might basically be done this season by the dominance of one team is that dull based on what we've seen over maybe even the last 10 years.
Number 11 on the starting 11. No major international friendly since the ill-fated Manchester City match. The Whitecaps have lost Camilo, while clubs like Toronto FC and Seattle are spending big, and season ticket holders aren't getting any gifts like scarves with their season ticket packages. Does the club need to do more to win over some of those, or even keep some of those fans?
To win over or keep any fan, I think, in this city, in Vancouver, the Whitecaps have got to win. That's what it comes down to. And that is also the case with any professional soccer club in the world. It begins and ends with claiming silverware, and it's about time that this club really focuses in on making that the priority and getting the rewards that come with that. Offering gifts, making big splash signings, and making all this effort to do novelty events like high-profile friendlies. They do little to draw long-term interest as far as I'm concerned. You must be successful.
Well, I think at this point, you need to engage those fans. You need to keep those fans entertained. This is a franchise that's still in its infancy in Major League Soccer. The Sounders, they have more than 35,000 season ticket holders. They get a scarf. They get friendlies. They also get a winning team, and they're willing to put their support behind that. It's magical to see that as well, with fans holding up the scarf. 35,000 fans holding up a scarf is pretty amazing to see. That helps generate an atmosphere. That helps create an event, an engagement. In turn, that drives the team on, helps them move forward and win. Vancouver needs to take more advantage of that, and they need to take the next step on everything to the next level, on and off the field. That does it for the starting 11 for tonight. We'll get into a few of those topics a little bit later on into more depth with Vancouver Sun's Russell Berrisford. That's during the roundtable in hour number 2. You can test drive a new Kia at Kia Vancouver, receive a Whitecaps FC soccer ball, and enter to win 4 match tickets and a $100 gift card to Moxie's. KiaVancouver.com has all the details. Vancouver 0, New England Revolution 0. That was earlier today, and after the break, Simon will give us the rest of the scores from Major League Soccer, and we'll also speak with Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi. Are the Caps doing enough to appease the fans? How did the team play in New England in Bob's eyes? And also Bob Lenarduzzi's thoughts about whether or not Vancouver will host an international friendly this year. Those are just some of the questions. If you want to weigh in with yours, at Soccer Talk 650, hashtag AskBob. We'll have Bob Lenarduzzi, president of the Vancouver Whitecaps, when we return to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk right here on AM 650.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
The 2014 season of EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. Welcome to the front lines of the game. Welcome to the big league. The one that provides an elevated level of competition for high-performance players within BC and contributes to player development for the Canadian national team and professional opportunities here and abroad. This is where you're going to see the top youth players in action. Catch some of the most intense soccer in the province. EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. For information and upcoming games, check out bcsoccer.net.
Fashion Edition 14 Plus invites you to celebrate your curves. Experience the full feel of spring adorned in Columbia sportswear for your walk with nature. Caught in a soft light rainfall or basking in the glory of a bright sunny day, Columbia sportswear has just the right pant, just the right rain jacket, and just the right camp shirt. Active, adventurous, bold, and bright. Plus-size fashions with the right amount of fun. Celebrate your curves with Columbia sportswear, now featured at Fashion Edition 14 Plus, Vancouver Centre Mall, Morgan Crossing, South Surrey, and Langley Crossing.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
It was the Whitecaps 0 and the Revolution 0 today in New England. Good evening. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. My name's Tyler Green. We'll hear from Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi in just a minute, but first let's find out what happened around the rest of Major League Soccer with the MLS scoreboard. Here is Simon Fudge.
6 other games today in Major League Soccer. Real Salt Lake 1, Los Angeles Galaxy 1. Jermaine Defoe scored his 3rd goal of the season in a 1-0 victory for Toronto FC over DC United. 2 goals from Bernardo Honor gave Columbus Crew a 2-1 win over Philadelphia Union. It was Colorado Rapids 2, Portland Timbers 0. Sporting Kansas City 1, San Jose Earthquakes 0, and FC Dallas 3, Chivas USA 1. 2 games tomorrow, Chicago against New York and Montreal against Seattle.
Thanks, Simon. Joining us now on the program, Vancouver Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi. Bob, welcome to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk.
Thank you, Tyler. Pleasure.
First off, the Vancouver Whitecaps with a scoreless draw in New England. Your thoughts on the match for this Vancouver Whitecaps side?
Well, I think we expected the onslaught at the outset from New England, and for me, what you look for in your goalkeeper over the course of the season is to make the kind of save that actually allows you to pick up some points when perhaps you aren't playing at your best. And certainly David Ousted did that at around the 15-minute mark, where he made the great save off of the flick on from the corner. And I thought, for me, that'll likely be at least one of the saves of the week, and could be one of the saves of the season, and that I thought he did so well to make the save first and foremost, but actually then have the ability to get it up and over the bar and didn't cough up a rebound. And it seemed to settle down a little bit after that. Obviously, the conditions weren't ideal. I think wind, and I know the commentators made a point of it, suggesting that wind is probably the worst element for a game, and I would concur in that regard. So we got through the first half, and after the early chances that New England generated, I thought there really wasn't a lot that tested David Ousted. And then when Pedro Morales came on at the start of the second half, it looked like we were taking the initiative at that point, and he was getting on the ball a lot. And then as the half wore on, he seemed to become less of a factor. And the game was played primarily in the middle of the park at that point. I don't think there were a lot of good chances at either end. At this stage, we'll take the point. I think we're still finding our way, and you heard Carl at halftime suggesting that we were a little bit direct, and would like the certainly the option of that outlet in the middle of the park to be more so than it has been in this past game, and then also in the game against Chivas. But it's still a work in progress. But from a positive perspective, we've got 5 points, and we're back home where ideally we can reproduce the form that we showed against New York against Houston next week.
Do you like the makeup of this team, or are you still maybe looking for 1 or 2 more players to really solidify it?
No, I kind of like what we've got right now, and more importantly, Carl feels like we've got a real competition for starting spots almost in every area of the field. And beyond that, the depth is very good, and we saw that today with the 3 subs that Carl utilized. All 3 coming on, and all 3 could easily be starting. So I think it'll take some time to establish who the regular starting 11 will likely be. But I'm sure that if you're playing in the starting 11, that you really can't afford to assume that you're going to have that spot if in fact you're not performing very well, because you've got guys on the bench that Carl can go to try and pick up the performance of the team if that's required.
You're listening to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk here on AM 650. My name's Tyler Green. Alongside me, Simon Fudge. We're talking with Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi. Bob, Omar Salgado got into the Charleston Battery game about 45 minutes of the second half from earlier today. Talk about the move to loan him there for the player and as well for the team, and what this does moving forward.
Yeah, I think Omar is at a stage in his career where he's still very young. He's just 20 years of age. But unfortunately, he's been dogged with, in particular, the foot injury that's virtually had him miss almost 2 full seasons of MLS soccer. And the irony is that when he was injured, it really looked like he was starting to establish himself on the left side of midfield. And then, of course, he got the injury while away with the under-20 national team, and unfortunately hasn't been fit since. So for him, he needs games. And I think while he is very ambitious, I think he would like to be either starting or in the roster of 18 on a regular basis. But we do have a deep squad of players, and for him right now, and for us, I think it's great that he goes to Charleston, and he only arrived there just yesterday, so that was the reason why he got 45 minutes. But the instructions to the Charleston guys are to give him significant minutes, and obviously he needs to earn those minutes. But we would like for Omar to play on a regular basis and get that base of match conditioning that he has lost as a result of not playing not just in MLS for virtually a season and 3 quarters, but not playing at any level. So this should be good for him and get him the minutes that he needs to allow him to come back to Vancouver and challenge for at least a roster spot, and if not a starting spot.
Bob Lenarduzzi joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. We posed the questions out to our Twitter followers to weigh in some questions for you, Bob, and an old friend of yours, Alan Arrington, piped in with, why was Jay DeMerit being rested for the game today?
Well, I think that's, if you look at Jay's minutes from the first 3 years with us, I think his total games over those 3 years are 44, and he's getting up there in age, and the idea there is to ensure that we don't get to a point where, as a result of the travel and playing on a regular basis, that we risk injury. So we're trying to be proactive in that regard, and he will be back in the squad next weekend, and it's more than likely that, Andy O'Brien will be in a similar situation where we'll try to make sure that, unlike last year when we virtually played him every minute up to the point that he was injured, and that included the Amway Cup games, so he was playing weekend, midweek on a regular basis, and he broke down in the Seattle match, and he was actually, I thought he was one of our best players last year. So we're trying to be proactive and ensure that we have a healthy roster of players for as many games as possible.
Admiral Murr asks, is there going to be a third jersey for the Whitecaps this season?
Is there going to be a third jersey? I believe that we'll actually have, as a result of the 40th year celebration, I know that there will be some jerseys that we're putting out that will be consistent with what they were way back in 1974. But outside of that, we'll likely be going with the two standard home and away uniforms.
Dave from Surrey in an email wanted to know if the Whitecaps have an international friendly plan this year, either the Whitecaps playing somebody or two European teams playing one another.
Something that we've been pursuing quite vigorously since we had Man City in, and as a result of moving into BC Place, what we really were looking to do was ensure that if we brought a team in, that it would be a team that could potentially fill the building, would fill the building, and that would be one of the big clubs, and in that bracket you put Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe Manchester United. Although they're struggling, I think that their brand is really does transcend the soccer supporter. So not completely done with pursuing that, but the fact that it's a World Cup year makes it that much more difficult. And the idea of two international clubs playing against one another, that's not something that's ever been, although it has been proposed to us, I'm not sure that there was ever any real urgency to that. So more than likely we won't be playing an international match this year, but it is high on our list of priorities to try to get a match for 2015.
And Schmokey Schmo wanted to know, and it's always going to come up with this the committee, but if you could clearly define sort of the role of the committee when it comes to signing players.
Well, I mean, each of in a business you have an executive committee. In most countries in the world, you have a board of directors, and that board of directors is not necessarily made up of soccer people. Obviously, there will be recommendations made to the board that ultimately they will make decisions on. Carl Robinson, is the guy that really has the final say on who it is he'd like to have on his roster. Obviously, if it involves a designated player, then that's something that impacts the business side of our club, and we have people on the committee that obviously represent that area, and obviously ownership. If it means that more money is required, that's a decision that they have to make. So it's pretty simplistic. I think what people have done is chosen to make it more of an issue than it really is. The decisions on the technical side are solely with Carl Robinson. Ultimately, he's the guy that will make the call on what players he wants on his roster, and we're there to support him.
Bob Lenarduzzi joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Final question, Bob, because we're just about out of time here, but the Canadian Soccer Association announcing some changes to the Amway Canadian Championships and the way it's done. There is now some interest. We're going to have Mark DeFries from Vancouver Highlanders FC on the program in the second half. They're very interested to join the fray in the Voyageurs Cup competition. How is this going to help Canadian soccer here in the future to potentially have these other teams competing and really change the outlook of the tournament?
Yeah, it'll make it. If we get to that stage, it will make it much like other competitions in the world, and we have a good example of that in the United States with the U.S. Open Cup that's been around for a number of years, and only just recently, as a result of MLS, has taken on more of a stature in terms of a trophy that the clubs look to win. But it's consistent with the FA Cup in England, and that the smaller clubs get a chance to battle against the bigger clubs. So I think time will tell as to how quickly that can be initiated. But if we can get to that point, I think it would certainly capture the interest of the soccer world in Canada, and that if the little guys get the chance to match up with the bigger clubs, then there's always a chance of upsets, and I think it provides a lot of intrigue.
Well, Bob, so many more questions, but we're all out of time. But thanks for taking the time out of your evening here to join us.
My pleasure. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Bob. Bob Lenarduzzi, Whitecaps president, joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Quickly, tonight's poll question brought to you by anotherfinecut.com. Should the Whitecaps have re-signed Captain Jada Merritt? Tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag #BarberPoll, and you'll be entered to win a gift certificate to anotherfinecut.com, at SoccerTalk650, or at Tyler Green with the hashtag #BarberPoll is where you can enter. A quick stoppage of play here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Kia Vancouver's first annual Whitecaps FC Kickoff Savings event is happening right now until March 28th. Don't miss this, online at KiaVancouver.com. Up next, we'll get the latest headlines from around the globe. We'll also talk some fantasy standings as some teams went up, and, well, our very own Simon Fudge didn't go very well. But we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Whitecaps icon, Eric Hassli. That's next.
Follow us on Twitter at SoccerTalk650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias, with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of AnotherFineCut.com. Here's how it works. Go to AnotherFineCut.com. Book your appointment at one of their 3 unique to their area barbershops in Gastown, Yaletown, or the Financial District. You can just walk in, too, and get your haircut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. You deserve this. A great wedding party idea, too. AnotherFineCut.com.
It was true Italy. Every weekend, the Dussault family gathered to share laughter and plates of homemade pasta. So when the Dussault brothers came to Canada, rather than become homesick for the good times, they opened Dussault's on Granville Island. A generation later, the Dussaults are still creating authentic, home-style Italian pasta and sauce from natural ingredients. Great carbs and quick, healthy meals. Official pasta of the Vancouver Canucks and Vancouver Whitecaps FC. Look for Dussault's fresh pasta and sauce at your local grocery store. Visit Dussault's, DUSOS.com.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks. ExpertPhysio.ca.
We're back. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650.
Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
Kia Vancouver, 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon online, KiaVancouver.com. I'm picking up my new Kia Sorento all-wheel drive V6 EX this Tuesday. Very stoked about that. My name's Tyler Green. This is AM 650 Radio in Vancouver, streaming around the world at am650radio.com. First half brought to you by BC Soccer. Whether you'd like to become a player, coach, or referee, visit bcsoccer.net to learn how to become more involved in the beautiful game. We'll check out some of the headlines in just a second, but first, Simon, with a quick look at the Serie A scoreboard.
2 games today. Torino 3, Livorno 1, a hat-trick from Immobile on that one. Chievo 0, Roma 2. Those are the 2 games today. There are 8 games tomorrow. They feature Inter against Atalanta, Napoli against Fiorentina, Catania against league leaders Juventus, and Lazio against AC Milan.
And a quick look at the fantasy scoreboard, as we call it, brought to you by Umbro Canada. The scoreboard update after week 2. Derek Freeman had a huge 70-point week last week, takes over top spot, 136 points overall. Christopher Bromley in second, with Sub Hedgehog FC dropping down from second to third. Ian McHugh, terrible week for him. Went from first down to 8th after a disappointing week. Executive producer Christina Dykes' What Would Rennie Do squad. It's moved up to 30th spot. Last week, I was 40th. And then this week, I'm in 40th, hence the name, Mid-Table Green FC. Paul Dolan's Umbro Reds jumped from 42nd to 28th spot. I had to pretty much look at the very bottom of the standings to find Simon Fudge. That's all we'll say about that. He's way back there with my buddy Kyle McDonald, who's, well, he's basically holding up the whole table. And there's still time if you want to get involved. Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan, and find all the details. The winner of the March Umbro Prize will be awarded to the team with the best name. So get creative. Some of the teams in the running right now for the big prize, Zeusy's Luscious Locks. This is, I really like this. This is a good one. Zeusy in the Sky with Diamonds. There's Kofi Break. There's the Twine Tickler. One of my big favorites, though, is the Big Lewandowski. So there's still time if you'd like to change your name, because we'll be awarding that prize at the end of March. And there's it's for the best name, so think of something creative. Thousands of dollars in prizes available courtesy of Umbro Canada, including tickets to the Canada versus Japan women's match, Canada jerseys. Umbro, it's the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available to your team or club at umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of the Canadian men's and women's national teams, celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros. Umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football. We've got Vancouver Sun's Russell Berrisford, plus the injury report with David Sandals of expertphysio.ca to come up, as well as key questions, where we ask some of those unusual questions that you don't always hear. Time now for headlines from around the globe with Uniglobe One Travel, taking a look at the news, notes, and rumors from around the globe. Fast, simple, easy. Neil and the team at Uniglobe One Travel have you covered, whether it's a simple trip down to Seattle, a cruise ship experience, or heading overseas to Europe. Neil and the crew at Uniglobe have you covered. Call Neil, 604-677-1495. Couple things, Daily Mirror. Arsene Wenger has promised he will soon sign a new Arsenal deal. Revealed he is already planning his summer transfer strategy. According to the Sun, Felix Magath says he does not care whether his Fulham players like him or not. John Terry, according to the Daily Telegraph, Chelsea have opened negotiations with the 33-year-old club captain. Lionel Messi is potentially worth 25 million euros a season. That's what Spain are looking to pay him in Sport of Spain. And finally, via a press release, San Antonio Scorpions of the NASL have signed former Whitecaps designated player Eric Hassli. And with that, it's time for the Kia Vancouver showroom interview. Kia Vancouver's first annual Whitecaps FC kickoff savings event happening right now on March 28th. Don't miss it. Details in store, KiaVancouver.com. And we're just looks like we lost Eric Hassli there, so we won't be talking to the big man, unfortunately. So we're going to take a break here, get into the second half of the program with David Sandals from Expert Physio. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with Eric Hassli. It is 2-hour time difference down in Texas, so we will hope to catch up with him. But David Sandals from expertphysio.ca, he's going to join us next. Andy O'Brien's dead leg. What exactly is dead leg? Well, David Sandals will fill us in on that. But first, it's the BC Soccer Profile, presented by bcsoccer.net.
Time now for the BC Soccer Profile, showcasing special achievements and success stories from throughout the province. Judy McTavish is one of the many volunteers that has devoted her time to help youth children and adults playing soccer throughout British Columbia. McTavish has been the club registrar for both Surrey United and Metro Soccer Association for a number of years. With many hours spent behind the scenes, BC Soccer would like to thank Judy and other registrars across the province for their continuous hard work to support soccer in their community. If you'd like to learn how to volunteer and become more involved with soccer in your community, visit bcsoccer.net.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC.
Our beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
The 2014 season of EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. Welcome to the front lines of the game. Welcome to the big league. The one that provides an elevated level of competition for high-performance players within BC and contributes to player development for the Canadian national team and professional opportunities here and abroad. This is where you're going to see the top youth players in action. Catch some of the most intense soccer in the province. EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. For information and upcoming games, check out bcsoccer.net.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Centuries old, steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at anotherfinecut.com. Hot towels, straight edge blade into your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive. You're a man in the company of history's finest men. Start at anotherfinecut.com. Pick your barbershop in Yaletown, Gastown, or the Financial District and relax into the big red leather chair for the shave of your life.
Monday evenings at 6 on AM 650, listen for Boomer Life. Boomer Life is a show all about baby boomers. We're talking about the things baby boomers are thinking about. Everything from independent retirement living to healthy living options, money management, and much more. It's all about living the good life, and it's all about baby boomers. Time to focus on your bucket list. That's Boomer Life, presented in part by Rivera Retirement Living. Boomer Life, Monday evenings at 6 on AM 650.
All-time favorites. AM 650 is CISL Vancouver. And now, it's Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
A very busy second half of the program, so let's go no further. Simon with another scoreboard.
Malaga 2 on Friday, Granada 1, Elche 0, Espanyol 0, Levante 0, Valladolid and Rayo Vallecano 1-1. Bilbao beat Getafe 1-0 today. The big game in Spain this weekend is El Gran Clasico, Real Madrid against Barcelona tomorrow.
It's time now for the injury report with expert physios David Sandals. And David, expertphysio.ca, in Burnaby, online, expertphysio.ca. And David, Russell Tybert, he missed last week's match against Chivas with a hamstring injury. He started today. He was very much fine. But, you know, hamstring injuries are a big problem in really professional sports, but even playing locally. Is it muscle imbalance? Is it fatigue? What really sort of causes these hamstring injuries?
Well, the biggest cause I find, Tyler, is stiffness or imbalance in the pelvis. There's a lot of rotation has to take between the right and left sides of the pelvis when you run. And if there's an imbalance, a weakness, or even a loss of pelvic mobility where one side of the pelvis has gotten stuck, then what happens with the long muscles that attach the pelvis and go down the leg is you get a length imbalance, and that's when you get hamstring pulls and also quads pulls when you're kicking the ball really hard.
Now, the Whitecaps are also resting some players from the game earlier today, including captain Jada Merritt, considered an elite athlete. But does an elite athlete need rest in week 3 of the season?
Well, I mean, if it would have been a big game, he definitely wouldn't have been rested. I'm sure he doesn't need a rest. I'm sure he's not suffering from any kind of fatigue syndrome at this point. And these guys, you know, they know how to test. Fairly simple way to test if you are getting fatigue or overtrained is a resting heart rate when you first wake up in the morning. If that goes above what it normally is, it's a sign that an athlete's overtraining. You can also do a test where they just test their recovery. So you put someone on a bike, take them up to the 80% of their max heart rate, then see how long it takes to drop back down to about 40%. If you know what that is for the specific athlete, then you can test and make sure that's normal. If it's taking a lot longer than normal to return to get his heart rate down, again, that's a sign of overtraining. I'm sure they know when these guys I think it's just a question of he's an older player, and it's a very, very long season, and they want to make sure they've got him the whole of this season, unlike the past when we've had to do without him for long periods.
Expert physios David Sandals joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. And Andy O'Brien, he was subbed last week. He started today and was fine today, but was subbed last week with what was described as dead leg. For those that don't know, what exactly is dead leg?
Yeah, I was surprised to see it described as that on the Whitecaps injury report on their website, but it's a very British term. I think the term more used in North America is a Charlie horse. It's basically a contusion where you, in the front of your thigh, when you get a blow or a knee to the front of the leg and the muscle at the front of the leg gets squished into the bone behind. If it bleeds a lot, you get something called a hematoma. And, you know, in Australia they call them corked thighs or a corky. So we all have our colloquialisms. No one really knows where the term Charlie horse came from, but some people think it's related to a horse that used to tow the rollers around at the baseball park in the Boston Red Sox, I think it was, and the horse was called Charlie, and he limped. So when one of the players got injured, was limping, they called him Charlie Horse, and I think it's stuck from there. Although that is a bit of an old wives' tale.
Well, David, thanks for clarifying a few issues for us, and we'll talk with you again next weekend to find out all the latest from Expert Physio.
You're welcome, Tyler. Have a good week.
Thanks again. That was David Sandals, physiotherapist at Expert Physio. If you care about your health, why not work with the Expert convenient clinics in Burnaby Heights and at 8 Rinks? For more information on the services they provide, visit expertphysio.ca. Well, it is time now for the showroom interview, the Kia Vancouver showroom interview. Kia Vancouver's first annual Whitecaps FC kickoff savings event is happening now until March 28th. Don't miss this. Details in store at Kia Vancouver, 396 Southwest Marine Drive, or online at kiavancouver.com. Tonight we chat with Eric Hassli, a man who is still loved in this city of Vancouver for some spectacular goals and really for being an all-around nice guy, and now a new member of the San Antonio Scorpions with a couple of other former caps in Greg Janicki and Adrian Can. Eric, welcome to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. So just first off, with the signing in San Antonio, what sort of went into that, and why did you decide to head to San Antonio to play for the Scorpions?
But first of all, I had a lot of injury last year, and when I came after the preseason this year, I had a talk with the coach Paya, and we agreed, and he didn't want to take a chance on me with my back and all stuff, so we had to just take a different way, different road, whatever. And I have an agent that called me, talked to me about San Antonio, and I talked to the coach, really a great guy, and he was telling me that he wanted to take care of me, and he was pretty sure that I can be fit, and they can fix my back, and having a time on the field and stuff. So I was pretty excited. So I didn't think too much. I just said yes, and I'm pretty happy because they really take good care of me. So I'm pretty happy.
Now, you scored some spectacular goals up here in Vancouver. You ready to unveil that to the San Antonio fan?
I work on it. I'm just trying to get healthy right now. It's been a week. I practice with the team. I feel really good. Everybody's in shape right now here. So I have a specific work. I'm just trying to having fun again and enjoy every day. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Former Vancouver Whitecap and now San Antonio Scorpion, Eric Hassli, joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Eric, so many fond memories of your playing here in Vancouver. There's obviously the spectacular goals. There's, you really created quite a connection with fans, whether it was, scoring a goal, taking off your jersey only to reveal that you have another jersey on underneath. Do you have one moment that you really remember up here in Vancouver as a fond memory?
To be honest with you, it was just the memory that I have is just the year and a half that I spent there, and I just had a great time. The goal, the craziness with the fans and stuff. It was just the city. I just had a great memory about Vancouver. We always talk with Davide about it, and it's not one moment. Yes, of course, the goal in Seattle, but San Jose in stoppage time, or when I took off my jersey and stuff. Yeah, that was just crazy, but it was just environment, like step on the field with those fans. It was just a great time in my life.
Eric, your engagement with the fans, especially here in Vancouver, was a particularly special one. What did you think it sort of brought that on, and why even to this day they still think of you very, very fondly?
So sorry, I didn't really.
Well, it's what I wanted to know is just you had a wonderful relationship with Whitecaps fans here in Vancouver in terms of the den. Is there anything that you could possibly explain as to why it was such a special kind of relationship that you had with them?
I have no idea. It's just since day one. I mean, I didn't think about like doing all the stuff that I did after scoring goals or whatever. It's just they give me so much love. I feel that a bunch of message of and I keep relationship with a couple of them. It's just I don't know. It's just it just happened like that. I've never kept relationship with fans in Zurich, or even if I had a great time too. But I don't know. It just happened, and no, I'm thankful, and I will always remember. I don't know. It's just a special place in my heart, and yeah, it will stay forever. That's for sure.
Eric, you've kind of gotten tattoos along the way from places you've played in. Is there a scorpion in your future?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to, like I said, I played soccer my whole life, like since I was 3 years old. So I'm just trying to get healthy and be on the field because that's where I'm happy. That's all. They tried. That's what I like here. They really do everything for me, and they try to get me fit, and I don't know. I want to play soccer. That's what I want to do.
Perfect. Well, Eric, appreciate
what's going.
Eric, appreciate you taking some time. I know it's late down in Texas, but appreciate you staying up and joining us. Wish you all the best in getting fit and getting back on the field with San Antonio. And thanks for taking the time to join us.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And again, good luck to everybody. And it was nice to talking to you guys.
Thanks again, Eric Hassli, joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk for the Kia Vancouver showroom interview tonight. Test drive a new Kia at Kia Vancouver and receive a Whitecaps FC soccer ball and enter to win 4 match tickets and a $100 gift card at Moxie's. The Barber poll question tonight: should the Whitecaps have re-signed Captain Jada Merritt? You can weigh in with your thoughts at Soccer Talk 650, at Tyler Green FC, hashtag Barber poll, and you can win a gift certificate to anotherfinecut.com. So let us know what your thoughts are on some of those issues. Couple coming in here on he's the face of the club and captain. Think that played heavily into re-signing him. Swampo saying don't need him. Looks great when he dives into a tackle, but too risky and also slow. Would have hurt the club too much not to re-sign him. And they need his weight. He is worth his weight in PR, and he's not that bad of a player either. A couple other issues that people are weighing in on. Well, one of them is anybody hates that mustache from Paulo Machado is just jealous. Other ones say, yeah, can the porn stash get rid of it? So a lot of people weighing in today. Craft Beer Guy 1 on Twitter saying, absolutely, he is a solid veteran player and he will be needed down the stretch. Weighing in on the Barber poll. Again, at Soccer Talk 650, hashtag Barber poll, and you could win a gift certificate to anotherfinecut.com. Short timeout. After the break, we're going to get into the round table here on AM 650, plus Mark DeFries, General Manager of the Victoria Highlanders FC, will join us for a couple minutes to talk about the potential inclusion of USL Pro and PDL sides into the Voyageurs Cup competition in the coming years. Also, Russell Berrisford of the Vancouver Sun, he'll join us, the round table, get into a lot of different issues. Russell is not shy of weighing in on his opinion about this Vancouver Whitecaps team. We will get into all of that next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
The Vancouver Street Soccer League isn't out to change the world. Just give the men and women in our homeless communities a chance to play soccer. Regardless of skill, everyone's included in practices and matches with teams from UBC, the Vancouver Police Department, the Vancouver Mayor's Office, and more. The focus is fun, but it builds skill and confidence, and that can change someone's world. Find out more at VancouverStreetSoccer.com.
This message fueled by Duso's Fresh Pasta and Sauce. Proud to support community on and off the pitch.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of AnotherFineCut.com. Here's how it works. Go to AnotherFineCut.com. Book your appointment at one of their 3 unique to their area barbershops in Gastown, Yaletown, or the Financial District. You can just walk in, too, and get your haircut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. You deserve this. A great wedding party idea, too. AnotherFineCut.com.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at Umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at Umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
Hey, welcome to Inspiration Furniture.
Don't worry, honey. I'll handle this.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're in the market for a new bedroom set.
Okay.
That's contemporary, but fits in our space.
Okay.
Oh, no, don't you go driving up the price now that you know we're interested.
Okay.
Inspiration Furniture. Contemporary, modern, and stylish brands like Natuzzi with no intimidating sales pitches.
See? Just leave it to the master.
Really? Is that what we're calling you?
Inspiration Furniture, 1275 West 6th in Vancouver.
We're back. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Good evening. My name's Tyler Green. Join us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and Tyler Green FC. The roundtable with Russell Berrisford of the Vancouver Sun is coming up. Purchase any in-stock new Kia now until March 28th and receive 4 Whitecaps tickets and a $100 gift card to Moxie's. And you will also be entered to win a pair of season tickets. Draw date, April 2nd. I'm picking up my new Kia Sorento on Tuesday. Check out your next car at KiaVancouver.com. Quickly before the roundtable and a Bundesliga scoreboard, we're joined by Victoria Highlanders FC General Manager Mark DeFrias. And Mark, welcome to the show. And first up, very exciting news that you now may actually get to be involved, the Highlanders that is, involved in the Amway Canadian Championship in the very near future.
Yeah, hi Tyler, how are you? Thanks for having me on air firstly. Yeah, we're actually excited by the prospect of the opportunity. I mean, nothing's confirmed as of yet. But with the recent announcement by the Canadian Soccer Association to change the timeline to the time of the competition to a June and July competition, as well as Victor Montagliani, CSA president's comments in December about looking for expansion in the Open Cup being a must. I think all signs here are pointing to a probability that there might be an opportunity here for PDL inclusion in the tournament.
Now, what needs to be done? Because obviously you're a smaller club, smaller cities. Economically, this could be a little bit difficult, but you need to make sure that works. So what are some of the stumbling blocks and I guess the potential benefits for clubs like Victoria to play in this tournament?
Well, I think first and foremost, we got to look at our travel. Canada's a big country, and for Victoria to go traveling all the way to Montreal, for example, I mean, we're crossing a lot of provinces, and it's a lot of kilometers. So the tournament would have to have some sort of partnership with an airline for sure to help make that economically feasible for us to go traveling to those cities. And obviously, we'd have to look at corporate sponsorships to help make that work as well. But for those teams to come here to Victoria, it's obviously a boom for our city. Anytime you have an opportunity to play against the likes of Jermaine Defoe or Pedro Morales or a Marco De Valle, you're going to get a good crowd, and the local community, they're just dying to have that opportunity to see a top-tier football in their city. And we provide a really good level, but once you get into MLS, it's a whole different ballgame.
Now, just before any of that happens, you've got a PDL season to play for, and that begins very soon. You've had some player announcements over the last few weeks here. Where can people get more information and also tickets for Victoria Highlander matches?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to our website at victoriahighlandersfc.com. Pretty simple process to get your season tickets. We think they're pretty reasonably priced. And the season's, it's coming to us quickly here. May 4th, we kick off against our Salish Sea rivals, the Whitecaps U23 program, and really looking forward to the start of the season and hopefully continuing on the success of last year. As you know, we had a pretty good season last year, all the way to the Western Conference Championship Final, beat out Portland Timbers to advance to the Final Four in the PDL, and we're hoping to get some retribution. We unfortunately lost in the semis to Thunder Bay, our Canadian counterparts, but we want to make it back there again this year, and we want to win it.
Well, good luck, Mark, and we'll talk to you again as the season progresses here, but thanks for joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk.
Thanks very much for having me, Tyler. Talk soon.
No problem. Mark DeFrias, General Manager of the Victoria Highlanders over in Victoria, joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. The roundtable coming up with Russell Berrisford joining us, but first, Simon, with a quick Bundesliga scoreboard.
Friday saw Freiburg beat Werder Bremen 3-1. There were 6 games today in Germany. They included wins for Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and a very important win for Stuttgart over Hamburg at the bottom of the table. There are 2 games tomorrow: Nuremberg against Eintracht Frankfurt and Bayer Leverkusen against Hoffenheim.
Tonight's Barber Poll brought to you by Another Fine Cut. Show the Whitecaps have re-signed Captain Jada Merritt. A bunch of options. A, yes, he's a starter and a leader. Yes, but only if his salary's low. He's a sub at best, or no, not worth it. The money better spent elsewhere. Hashtag Barber Poll and tweet us your thoughts at SoccerTalk650. Gentlemen, let's get into it. My name's Tyler Green, your host. Alongside me, contributor Simon Fudge. You can follow Simon on Twitter at SimonFudge74. And our special guest in studio tonight is the Vancouver Sun's Russell Berrisford. First up, Russell on Twitter, squad player. We'll go with you first, Russell. Your thoughts on the Barber Poll?
I think, yeah, thanks for that one. I think a lot depends on what his salary is. I personally wouldn't have signed him. I think it was a choice between him and O'Brien for me, and it was 50-50 whichever one they took. They're both not going to play full games for the full season, as we saw today, with Demerit not travelling to New England. So I'd have probably let Demerit go and kept O'Brien. I think O'Brien's a more composed defender.
At the same time, you look at a guy like Jada Merritt, who has that ability to talk his way out of anything, will do any media, and really a face of a franchise who lost Camilo in the offseason, so probably played a factor in his re-signing as well.
Yeah, I think the Camilo leaving was probably, they thought we can't lose another player who the public outside of the more dedicated fans can recognise in the street and on television. So I think that certainly played into why Demerit was re-signed. But I'm sure Carl Robinson must have wanted him as well. I don't think Robinson was saying, no, don't sign him, but he was overruled by the famous committee. I think obviously Robinson wanted him, and he's played him in the first 2 games, so he knows he can do a job for him. So I think that must have played a part as well.
Yeah, and Simon, we haven't gotten your thoughts on the poll question just yet. Where would you line up that one with Jada Merritt?
I think I would say that they needed to sign him again. But I have to say that I haven't been terribly impressed by what I've seen in the first 2 games from him. I think he's a step behind. That might be because of match fitness, but it for me it was one where I was a little bit torn, and certainly the face of the franchise part of it played a big role in it. What he has done since he came here to try and provide a face to and an image for the club has been ever so important, and still very important for the club. But I do think of it from the point of view of what is he going to be able to do on the pitch. If he can get himself up to speed, then he will be very valuable for the club at the end of the season. I mean, there was a lot of talk last year when he was missing that said that there were certain games that the team could have gotten results if he did play in them. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day I would have signed him.
Yeah, I mean, I think central defenders are a bit like referees. If you notice them, then they're probably not doing their job that well, and I think we've noticed him out this season because he has been diving in, making last-minute challenges, as you said, because he does seem to be a step behind. Maybe if he does pick up his fitness, then he'll play better, a more composed game, but at the minute he does seem to be diving in a little bit too much.
You're listening to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk in the round table. D. Mac Gregg, 37, I think they had to for the PR after the early summer they had. Football-wise, probably not. Mitch J. Williams, no sir, not with Andy there. Canucks dude, yes, you need a veteran like Jay, and Caps_Central. TV, ? Yes, you can view us on our video webcast at am650radio.com. We are here on streaming online, so you can watch us there. You can listen on the radio as well at AM650. Guys, Jay obviously not in the lineup today. There were some question marks as to whether some other players were going to be involved into this starting 11. So let's take a look at some of these guys. Does Jay DeMeritt deserve to get back into the starting 11, or was Johnny Leverone and Andy O'Brien good enough, and should they get the start again next week, or is it going to be Jay and Johnny, or really what is the best sort of center back combination, do you think, Russell?
I don't think he knows yet. I think after the first 30 minutes today, Leverone and O'Brien settled down. They seem to be a good combination, but I think Lenarduzzi was talking earlier and saying O'Brien's going to be missing some games as well. So it sounds as though Robinson's got an idea that he's going to rotate his central defenders for games that suit and for when he feels they need a rest. I'd like to see Leverone given a good run in the team because I think he's a young player who can develop and be useful for years to come.
Yeah, I want Leverone. I see Leverone actually being a very important piece here because I feel the durability questions over O'Brien and DeMeritt are very much there, and I think obviously by resting DeMeritt today, the club is well aware of that, and they're very mindful of the fact that they do not want either one of those two to break down at any point for a long stretch. So where Leverone fits into all of that is very important. This could be quite a big year for him, and I'm a big fan of his. His calmness is something that is so important to see for me. He makes up for the lack of size that he has playing in that position. Is just his composure and knowing that you can do the sensible thing in a very tight situation when you're under pressure instead of just panic and clearing the ball away is a very important thing the club has with a guy like Johnny Leverone.
You're listening to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk, and this is the round table. We've got a lot more to come, including Russell and Simon's thoughts on the Whitecaps' moves to ship some players like Omar Salgado to Charleston, as well Nigel Reo-Coker. What do we think of Nigel Reo-Coker so far this year? And is Maddox and Miller working, as well as the draws on the road? Are those good enough for the Vancouver Whitecaps? They're better than losses, but they're not quite wins. What does this team need to do to win on the road? We'll get into more of that in just a second, but first let's take a look at what's happening around BC in the BC Soccer Bulletin.
Here's what's happening throughout the province with the BC Soccer Bulletin. Fraser Valley Cup finals take place March 29th at Port Moody Town Centre. Come down to catch all the action or watch all 4 finals streaming live at virtualbroadcastnetwork.com. A beer garden will be open from noon till 8 p.m. On Sunday, March 30th, Metro Women's Soccer League is hosting their season-ending League Cup at Burnaby Lake West Sports Complex. This is one of the largest female soccer leagues in North America with year-round competitive and recreational soccer for all, from Premier to U21 to classic competitions. To find out more, visit mwsl.com. Canada's women's national team will play Germany June 18th and Japan October 28th at BC Place. Tickets for these matches are now on sale. For more information and to sign up for priority access to the FIFA Women's World Cup Canada 2015, visit bcsoccer.net. BC Soccer is now accepting scholarship applications as well as nominations for the Clark's Fair Play Award, sponsored by Clark's Recognition Products Limited. To submit an application, go to bcsoccer.net. That was this week's BC Soccer Bulletin. To find out more information about these events and on how to become more involved with the beautiful game, visit bcsoccer.net.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they'd choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks, expertphysio.ca.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
40 years ago, this city started something big. Today, you're still why we play. And together, we will fight for the win. We give our all on our honor.
Experience the best sporting atmosphere in the city and be at every match of our 40th anniversary season.
Save up to 41% over single match buyers.
Get prorated season tickets starting at just $331.
Tickets on sale now at whitecapsfc.com/tickets.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
Tonight on the round table, we have Vancouver Sun's Russell Berrisford, squad player on Twitter, Simon Fudge, also on Twitter at SimonFudge74. And my name is Tyler Green, Tyler Green FC. You're listening to Soccer Talk Kia Vancouver, Soccer Talk right here on AM 650. And this is Kia's first annual Whitecaps FC kickoff savings event. It's happening now until March 28th. Don't miss this. Visit them at KiaVancouver.com or on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Time now for the English scoreboard, brought to you by Umbro.
There are 8 games today in the English Premier League with 32 goals. Chelsea beat Arsenal by 6-0. It was Cardiff City 6, Liverpool 3. Everton won 3-2 over Swansea. Hull City beat West Brom 2-0. Manchester City thumped Fulham 5-0. Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0, Norwich 2, Sunderland 0, and West Ham United fell to 2 goals from Wayne Rooney at where Manchester United, the second one being an absolute wonder goal at Upton Park. There were two games tomorrow in the English Premier League, Spurs against Southampton and Aston Villa against Stoke City.
And that, of course, is the English scoreboard, brought to you by Umbro. And, of course, you can find Umbro at umbro.com. See the latest Umbro footwear, uniforms, and equipment at umbro.com, the heart and soul of football. Guys, before the break, we were talking about who should be in that starting 11 for the Vancouver Whitecaps. After 3 performances, Nigel Reo-Coker for me is a guy that I don't necessarily think should be in that starting 11. I thought he looked a little bit slow, a step behind in the first game, even though the Vancouver Whitecaps dominated all aspects of that game. But the last 2, granted last week he had the flu, but again this week didn't look great. For me, he's a guy that I just don't think is right there, and you can talk all about fitness, but this is the start of the season. You've had 6 weeks of preseason. You should be fit and ready to go in this game, and he just doesn't look like he is.
No, he doesn't. I think we were saying Demerit was a step behind. Reo-Coker looks to be 2 or 3 steps behind. I mean, today he picked up an early yellow card, and he was lucky not to get in the second one, because he was constantly chasing back to make tackles because he seemed to be out of position. Now, whether that is down to fitness, as you say, whether he's still recovering from his cold, in which case he probably shouldn't be playing anyway, or whether it's because he's not suited to the role of slotting beside Larber, I don't know. But he certainly hasn't earned the right to start next week, I don't think, not on what he's given us so far.
Simon, we'll get your thoughts in a second here, but then do you go with 2 guys in Lava and Kofi? So that's another question. But Simon, does Reo-Coker get another shot here in week 4 of the Major League Soccer season?
I think it's time for Pedro Morales to get a run here. You got 2 home games here, and it's important for the club, coming off of having excited the fans in the first week, to try and get them all buzzed again. Houston and Colorado, 2 very difficult opponents, and I think much of how the team should be set out, I think, over the next 2 games should be set around Morales, and with Laba supporting him behind as a holding midfielder, and that's where the focal point of the attack should come from. Yeah, I think you guys, gentlemen, are right with Reo-Coker. He looked slow. He looked like he just couldn't get into the game today, and I noticed that a little bit as well in terms of his giving the ball away this week, and even watching last night the Chivas US game from last weekend. Possession was being lost in very important areas of the pitch, and I think they have to take that on as a major thing to address this week.
Now Morales comes in and in the first game does well, comes in again as a substitute in this one, but he starts in Chivas and really didn't do a heck of a lot in that one. Which one are we going to see next week if he starts? Are we going to see the one that is creative and gets opportunities and helps his teammates get opportunities, or the one that really was very invisible on the field?
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. I suspect at home we'll see the more creative one, because the Whitecaps will have more play anyway. I think even more interesting will be where Robinson chooses to play him, because if he plays him just behind the forwards, then he's going to have to move Miller either out wide or move Mattox out wide, and none of those have really looked good when they've been in that position. What he could do is drop Morales deep in place of Reo-Coker, because when Morales went deep against Chivas, he seemed to find more space, so that might be an answer. But I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where he plays Morales and what effect that has on the other players in the team.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Russell, in the sense that having either one of Maddox or even Miller, like I saw in the Chivas game, or playing wide, they're not as effective when they're in a wide position. Trying to keep those 2 central, if they're going to start again, is going to be very important. So how they use Morales, if they drop him a little bit further deep, so he's got a little bit more line of sight to play and pick a pass like he did in week 1, is going to be really important. It's going to be an important decision in terms of positioning for Carl Robinson of where he wants to play, where will want to play him for sure.
Yeah, I think he's starting to get to the difficult decisions now, Robinson. He's seen enough of the players on the actual pitch in actual game time to get an idea of how good they are, how they respond to his instructions. So I think the next 2 home games will be interesting to see how he sets his team up, because that'll give us a really good idea of how he sees them going forward. You're
listening to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. This is the Roundtable here on AM 650. My name's Tyler Green. Alongside me, contributor Simon Fudge, Simon Fudge74 on Twitter, and Russell Berrisford from the Vancouver Sun, squad player on Twitter. And we kind of touched on it there with a Darren Maddox, with a Kenny Miller. Are these 2 players working well together? Can they coexist together, or is it something that needs that tinkering? Because we've seen Miller out wide, and we've seen so many players, even when it was Martin Rennie last year, go out wide and just get lost and not really have any effect on the game whatsoever. Darren Maddox is making some nice runs, but he's really not getting those chances that we've we'd like to see from him. So can these two players coexist and working the same when it seems to be Morales and Kenny Miller up front? That's when we seem to see a few bright spots of some offensive production.
Yeah, I think both Miller and Maddox have done well when they're playing just a straightforward role. But as you said, once they switch out wide, you just lose so much of what makes them useful players for the team. So I think Robinson will have to decide either change his formation and play them both up front or leave one of them out. And you would suspect that the one he would leave out would be Maddox, because I think he trusts Miller much more.
Yeah, those two really need to be more centrally focused for me. It was interesting how we saw them connect against New York in a good way, particularly when Miller was dropping from his position and the attack, dropping back deep to find a pass play forward. But that's where they're going to be the most effective, because in the case of Maddox, it's about just being able to, from that position, stretching defenses and making defenders go with him because of his pace. They're worried about him getting in behind and that opening up space for others. If you're going to play them, you're going to have to be up front. Otherwise, the formation will have to change, and then you're going to have to start thinking about, do you start Kakuta Mane? Do you start maybe even Fernandez in a different position? Do you put him up front as striker and partner him with the likes of Miller, for example? Or, as you say, do you put Pedro Morales in a much more forward role as a striker?
We'll get into some of those issues, but first let's take a quick look at some key questions here. And this week, the Whitecaps obviously in New England for the second road trip, and we asked some of the Whitecaps players a few of those tough questions that you don't often get asked about being on the road. The first one, and this was Christina Dyke, our executive producer's first foray into the post-training session questions, and she asked the players if anyone drooled on the plane. She spoke with goalkeeper David Osted and striker Darren Maddox.
There's a lot, yeah. I don't want to name names, but probably most of the guys here are droolers, so I won't name names. But.
Oh, I can't say, to be honest. I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the team I see that drools, so if I see anyone, I'll let you know.
Okay, so we have a yes, they all drool, or nobody drools, so we kind of wonder who's being truthful. Is it Osted or Maddox? Have to wonder there. Next up, we've heard about bad roommates on the road and guys that nobody wants to room with. Defender Andy O'Brien and midfielder Russell Berrisford weighed in with what they had to say when that was posed to them.
I don't know. I don't think there are too many bad ones. I bet David, my roommate, Alstead, stood next to me, so I was going to say him, but I can't. No, everybody's all right. I think I was with Kakuta last year, and he was good because I could bully him to make him make all the cups of teas and things like that. So, but it's a bit more of a veterans room as.
I only know Nigel, so I can't comment on that. He's okay. He's good. He's a good roommate.
So you get in trouble if you say something bad then?
No comment. Nate, let's go.
So Andy O'Brien saying they're all pretty good, but hey, you like bossing Kakuta Mane around last season. This year, of course, he's saying that he's with David Osted, and it's the veterans room. Russell Berrisford, meanwhile, doesn't... sounds like he's the one that's getting bossed around, and Nigel Rio-Coker's the boss of that room, so maybe Nigel's the worst roommate to have. But guys, a little bit more into the round table here. Sebastian Fernandez had a great goal, and I said after he scored that goal in the first game, hey, Daigo Kobayashi scored a great goal and was kind of invisible for the rest of the time. And Sebastian Fernandez is, well, we haven't seen that sort of spark from him again. We haven't seen him really unload with a shot at all. A guy like Kakuta Mane comes off the bench, electrifies, not scared to take shots, took another great one today that, if it curled a little bit more, could have went in. Is that possibly a move that they could make and maybe switch out and put a Kakuta Mane on for Sebastian Fernandez?
Yeah, I think that depends. If Robinson thinks Mane's success has been because he's coming on when the game is stretched, defenders are tired, the opposition is tired, so he gets to run at the ball. And you're right, he is really confident. He'll take a shot from anywhere. But over 90 minutes, if he keeps doing that, I can imagine the likes of Miller and Morales getting quite annoyed with him. after so long. So I think it's a question of whether Robinson actually still trusts Mane enough to play him from the start. I think at the moment he just works so well as an impact substitute with like 20-25 minutes to go that he'll probably stick with that.
Yeah, and when you look at his stats over when he's been playing, he scores goals galore when he's a substitute. They come not as often when he is a starter, so there is that option as well. But Simon, is he a guy that you see moving in there, or is there somebody else that you see maybe moving in and out? Has Russell Tybert done enough to keep himself in there? Is there somebody else you would like to see injected into the starting 11?
Well, it's funny because I thought about Omar Salgado today, but obviously he's now gone out on loan to Charleston and gets some much-needed playing time. He provides another option that if he gets it match fit is going to be really important down the line, but that's much more for the future. With Mane, it makes you wonder if he is ever going to be more increasingly dangerous as a substitute. He comes in at about the hour mark and stays in that. I do see him getting the opportunity to start, but it'll be with the intent, obviously, of being able to hit teams on the break. We talked about it before, about this team's ability to be able to transition and counterattack teams, especially at home on the turf, where they're going to play a lot of teams that they're probably they're spending most of their season on grass, and then they come in on the turf. It becomes a very different story for them, and if they can use the pace of that, then that can be a massive advantage for them. I think he'll get a chance to start. Whether he should, again, I think comes down to the formation that Robinson will want to play. And if he will want to maybe use a lot more width, if that's the case, Mane's going to get a start probably somewhere wide on the right-hand side.
Now, Russell, this Whitecaps team was awful on the road last season. They did pick up a few good wins, but they were exceptional at home. They've talked about how they want to take those home performances and do that on the road. Have we seen that yet from this team? Obviously no, but do you see any signs that this team could be a team that can play the same way at home as they do on the road?
I think it's always going to be hard to play the same way, just given the travel, given the fact the opposition are going to play different tactics. I think the only bright spot we've seen was perhaps the second half today, where they did actually seem to be passing the ball a little bit better. They were creating at least half chances, which they really weren't in the Chivas game until the last 20 minutes when Chivas were tired. So I think we've at least seen something today that we can build on, but it nowhere near the way they were playing at home.
Possession and keeping and passing the ball, it requires a certain sort of what I think is team discipline, and I think this team at this point in terms of what it wants to do hasn't reached that stage of really hammering down that discipline, that this is the way they're going to play and this is how they're going to take teams on. They got into what I call more reactive football today. The pressure got applied upon them with the wind in their faces, and they were just hitting long ball after long ball, especially through most of the first half. And that to me is just a more reactive way of playing to the situation that they were facing for much of the first half against New England. What they need to do is try and transition into being able to keep the ball, keep possession, and be more intent on making sure that that's the way they're going to play, no matter what the opposition is going to throw at them, home or away.
Yeah, and I think at half-time Robinson said, he's asked his players to be braver on the ball, and that's what they weren't in the first half, because it's really easy to hit a long ball far away from you, because then there's no pressure on you, but they were constantly giving possession away. At least in the second half they were a little bit braver. They were playing shorter passes, they were moving, so at least that was something.
They can they can keep possession and move it around and be maybe more compact, more defensive if they're away from home, but there should be a consistency in terms of the way they want to play, move it and pass it around, whether they're going to, in whatever game they play this season.
Quick answer. Are we going to see the team in week 1, the team on the road, or somewhere in between in this next home game?
I suspect it'll be somewhere in between.
Simon?
Yeah, I think it will be as well. They're playing a tough opponent here in Houston, and I think we'll see them probably be somewhere in between, but far more positive than we've seen the last couple of weeks.
It is also YPW night, so maybe that'll give them a little bit of an advantage. Who knows? Russell, thanks for taking the time to come out and join us here in the studio for the roundtable. where can we find everything that you do?
Just look for me, Squad Player, on Twitter, or just go to the Vancouver Sun, look for Soccer Shorts under the sports pages.
And Simon, thanks as always. We'll talk to you again next weekend.
Cheers. Thank you.
A warm welcome to Kia Vancouver to the program online at KiaVancouver.com, 396 Southwest Marine Drive. Visit Warren and Corey and the rest of the crew over at KiaVancouver.com. Kia, the power to surprise. Up next on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk here on AM 650, we'll wrap things up with the final cut, brought to you by Another Fine Cut, who we'll find out is walking away with that Another Fine Cut gift certificate to get themselves either a haircut or a hot shave. Plus, we'll get the manager's rant. That is next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
A similar beautiful game is played out every day at Kia Vancouver, where people like you make great scores on the value-loaded Kia vehicle that suits their needs. Right now, Kia Vancouver has throwback pricing on all new Kias with prices like they were 15 years ago. Plus, 0% financing up to 84 months and $750 all-wheel drive upgrade credit on any new Kia Sportage and Sorento. Beautiful. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise. At KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive.